following video will walk you through step by step in video format the assignment alphabet of lines, AutoCAD layer, box drawing, size A title block, and rubric. The assignment is found on the It's Learning page for Computer-Aided Drafting and Design CAD under the Assignments tab. So when you click on the actual assignment, the assignment will open up. The assignment walks you through first the process of several different websites to explain what alphabet of lines are for computer-aided drafting and for technical drawing in general. The alphabet of line website, alphabet of line website 2, as well as additional study application for alphabet of line flashcards are all very helpful in understanding these different line types. If in class you would have gone through a presentation to help explain those. If doing this completely online, you could utilize these sites to walk you through those steps. The second step is being able to figure out and learn how to set up your AutoCAD drawing so that you can utilize layers to work with the alphabet of lines. AutoCAD tutorial from 2014, creating and adjusting layers, from lynda.com. There's a link to that on the assignment here. And I can also walk you through a very quick step-by-step instruction right now through AutoCAD. The third step, here as you can see, I do have screen captured images to explain where you are to go in AutoCAD and what your layer structure will look like. When you are finished setting up your layers will mimic the layers in this screenshot here. And let's go ahead into AutoCAD and we can begin to set up a layer. In AutoCAD, I can pull down my layer structure and you can see that the only layer I have is the default layer. This is a brand new AutoCAD file. To bring up my layer property manager, I select the layer properties button from my layers tab on the ribbon bar and my layer property manager is opened. The layer property manager generally opens in a much smaller window, but if you select the edge of the window you can pull the window out so you can see all of the information for the layer property manager. Each one of the cells at the top can be pulled to open larger so you can see more information if necessary to be able to see the full header and information. To create a new layer, move your mouse over top of the new layer icon, which looks like several stacks of paper with a star. When you sit over top of an icon, you get a quick tool tip to explain what that actually will do when you select it. So I'm going to select a new layer. You can see my new layers here, layer 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and rename this layer. And I'll actually call this center. And just type that in. And then I'm going to move myself across very slowly and looking at each one of these icons. The first icon is a light bulb. This can turn on or off the layer, making it visible or not visible. The second icon is the freeze or thaw, and this will either freeze or thaw a layer in a viewport. And the third icon is the lock, which can lock or unlock a layer, making it visible but unable to be edited, moved, copied, etc. The color for the center line is going to be red, so when I select the color icon, I have the color selector dialog box. I will then select red, because that is the standard we have chosen for this course, for the center lines. And then my line type, which says continuous, I'm going to select, move over, select load, and then slide down in the list to find the center line style, and not center 2 or center X2, but just center. Load the line style, select the line style, and then hit OK to select it. Then I'm going to move over to the line weight. I'm going to go ahead and select the line weight icon, and I will move down through the selection to find which line weight actually supports the center line. All of the information that I have been selecting here is actually coming from the assignment. And this is the screenshot in the assignment where you can see the center line layer, which is on, it's unfrozen, it's unlocked, it is red, it has a center line type, and it also has a line weight of 0.25. So I'm going to go back to AutoCAD and then just make sure 0.25 is selected, hit OK, and now that line has been created. We'll then continue through and create the rest of the layers that you would see here on the assignment, just selecting and moving through this list as seen. When you are complete and you have all of your layers set up, you can close out of the layer property manager, but then it will be necessary for you to save the file. So you'll need to do a save as, and you'll save the drawing, and then you will save this drawing to your TechEd server space, and then you will call this alphabet of lines layer box drawing. You could call it layer box drawing, alphabet of lines. Either way, as long as you know that this is the drawing that you are saving. I'm going to cancel this as I know that that is saved already. A completed layer structure inside of the Layer Properties Manager would look like this, where all of the information has been put into each proper layer. As I close out of that, the layers can also be accessed while in model space or paper space by pulling down the layer application tool from the ribbon bar. The next step in the assignment, sliding down, is step 4, and that's actually creating the layer box drawing. And what you're going to then do is, as you slide down, you will create these boxes along with each subsequent line inside of these boxes, and you will then create and utilize the proper layer for each line. You will create this drawing in its entirety as exactly as you see it here. Each box is 2 by 2, and they're separated by 0.25, and in horizontal, vertically they're separated by 0.5. Text is all 0.125 in height, as we have standardized on text size 0.125 in height for this course. Now, if we go into AutoCAD, you can see that this is what the completed assignment would look like in your model space, and I can run through a very quick step approach to being able to create some of these boxes very quickly using the Move and Copy tools. First, I'm going to go ahead and select the Object Viz line, because that is the layer that the boxes should be drawn on. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool and just move over here in space, click and pull, select D for dimensions, then select 2 by 2, and then select the rectangle for placement. Now grab my line tool again, sitting over top of the corner, and then moving slightly to get an extension displacement, then type in 0.25 for the distance. Can then move down across and start to draw lines. Can utilize my offset tool and set the offset distance at 0.25, and then continue to set up offsets by selecting the line and clicking on the correct side of the line. I could use my copy tool for this as well. Several ways to do this. Now I'm going to then select the actual box and lines, grabbing the copy tool, and I am going to start setting up a copy situation where I'm going to start moving to the right, and then I'm going to type in the distance that I would like to place my next box, which is going to be 2.25, and then I'll set the next at 4.5, and then the next at 6.75. That information is coming from knowledge of each box is 2 by 2 with separation of 0.25, mathematically setting up each displacement point. Once I've set this up, I can go ahead and then select with a panning window the hidden line and set up the hidden line style. I can then come and I can pull across this sets of lines and set up the text line, and then I can set up the construction line. Very quickly and easy to make this drawing. All 4 boxes and lines can then be copied and moved down, creating a 2.5 displacement, and then moving through I can change all of the necessary lines to the proper line size as well. The phantom lines, if I go ahead and set up the cut plane line style, notice that the phantom lines do not show up with a double dash. It will be necessary to highlight the lines, right click on the line, and then hit the property option and change the line type scale to 0.5. 0.5 then allows the line to be drawn within the line style to be drawn within the 2-inch line length. If the phantom or the cutting plane line was longer than 2 inches, and actually we'll pull slightly past 2 inches, almost 2.5 inches, you can see that the line style will be able to be displayed. Being such a short line, we would have to then alter the line style directly. As I continue back across here, I'll go ahead and set up the dimension line layer by selecting the hidden lines here and turning them into the dimension lines. And then of course the last set will be the center lines. Selecting center lines and then setting them up to be center lines. Being able to turn on line weights to ensure that you are on the proper layer is important. If you do not have Show Hide Line Weight as an option on your drafting tools at the bottom, additional tools can be found in the 3 line tab at the bottom of the drafting tools by selecting it and then selecting the necessary tool. Make sure line weight has a check in it, and then you should be able to select and deselect show hide line weights. Setting up the necessary text for this drawing is easy by turning the layer to the text layer, grabbing the text tool and selecting multi-line text. By doing so, I can then come into general position, select and pull, and then type in what is necessary. I look at this and say object should be 0.5. I can then double click back on my text to change the size of the text, change the actual text. To change the size, text can be highlighted, and then text can be changed in the text size dialog box at the top of the screen. Text size can also be changed by selecting the text, right-clicking, and going to the properties of the text. Text size is available on the properties. This particular text can then be copied, and by moving across horizontally, it keeps all text aligned. Then text can be selected by panning window and then copied as a unit all four down to the proper position. You can then double click on the text to then go in and alter the actual text. And go and check to make sure hidden line should actually be 0.3. So we'll go in and change that so that we have that information in our layer drawing. Make sure that all notes are added. Make sure dimensions are added on the proper line, proper layer. So grab linear dimension tool, grab the proper layer, and then select points to lay out your drawing. After the layer boxes are drawn, the next thing to do would be to build your title block on paper space. The title block information is in step 5, creating the size A title block. The logo is available for download. When you mouse over the logo in the assignment, it is a downloadable file that you can save to the TechEd server. To insert the logo, there is a video within the assignment that you can watch to actually insert and set the logo. The actual dimensions for the title block are further down in the assignment, and these will be drawn directly onto paper space. So if I go to AutoCAD and select a blank layout, I can then go ahead and select my border line, as my border line is the layer that I will create for my title block, and then I just start drawing in the title block. Title block should be centered approximately, within these dashed lines, as those hidden lines here, or I should say these dashed lines are the printable margins of the paper, and then you just start drawing directly on this paper for your title block. You will recreate your title block completely so that the title block looks as you see here, and then what would happen is the viewport is then placed directly over top of your viewable space for the title block. The viewport is then just selected if you have a viewport and pulled over top of that title block space. If you do not have a viewport, as this does not, what you can do is go to the Layout tab at the top of the screen, move over to Rectangular for Layout Viewports, and then select the rectangular viewport. You then can select the top of the visible space for the drawing, and then down to the bottom of the visible space, and when you select, you now have a functioning viewport. Your drawing will be laid out at 1:1 to set up your drawing. I hope that as we've gone through this, that this has been beneficial in helping you work your way through the layer box drawing and title block setup. This is important skills that you will then utilize for pretty much every step in AutoCAD submission from this point forward. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email or ask questions in class.